Yo, welcome to a new 2K simulation series. We are in an alternate dimension of the NBA, rewinding the NBA all the way back to 2009, putting everything into 2K, rosters, draft classes, and re-simulating from 2009, probably to like 2023, 2024, maybe get a few of the future draft classes in there. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're gonna be re-simulating all the way through there and see what changes if everything gave it a second go, if we ran it on 2K servers instead of universal servers. And for this introduction video to the series, we're gonna go ahead and look through the rosters, maybe simulate the first season, get through the playoffs, see who wins the chip in the 2009-2010 NBA season. Of course, in the top right, we're starting October 19th, 2021. We should have to use your imagination just a little bit and act like it's 2009 right now, all right? Can't go back in time in 2K, but you can just import an entirely new league. That makes sense. And here are the rosters that we got, starting with the Philadelphia 76ers. We got Iggy, Thaddeus Young, a young Lou Williams, AI, old as hell in here. The Bucks have Andrew Bogut, just drafted him a few years ago. Yeah, first pick in 2005. He's supposed to still be the centerpiece. We got John Salmons, Brendan Jennings, before everyone realized he was going to be a bust. He actually had potential back in the day. An aging Michael Redd, Ersan Ilyasova, and the Bucks were looking up from a long rebuilding process. We got the Bulls with Derrick Rose 2 years before he won MVP in real life, 22 years old. Now, I do have injuries on in the simulation. Obviously, chances of Derrick Rose getting his ACL torn again is pretty low, but I did leave injuries on just so, you know, keep it fresh, keep it something unpredictable. You know, we can't turn off injuries in real life, so I don't see the point in doing all that. But anyways, this Bulls team has a really young core: Derrick Rose, Luol Deng, and Joakim Noah. They got a veteran star in Kirk Heinrich, got a young Taj Gibson, Brad Miller's in here, aging. Go over to the Cavaliers, and this was actually the last year LeBron was on the Cavs for the first time. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does in free agency, see if he decides to stay with Cleveland or go somewhere else, maybe go back to the Heat, you know, like he did in real life, or maybe he goes to a totally different place. Who knows? We'll have to see in the offseason. Got Antoine Jamison, an old name, Mo Williams, a very, very old and ugly looking Shaq. Just came, you know, just removed of his Miami years. He's kind of a bum now. Oh wait, never mind, this is all wrong. Yeah, I was about to say, no way he just left Miami. Some of the year stats are wrong, which isn't, you know, the biggest deal at all. But anyways, he's still in Cleveland. You got Anderson Varejao here, prime Varejao. Delonte West, Ilgauskas, an aging Ilgauskas in here, much removed from his prime. The Celtics, you know, this is prime Celtics season. They got Paul Pierce, an aging KG, up and coming Rajon Rondo, an aging Ray Allen, and I think they won the chip. Let me look. I think they won the chip in what, 08? Yeah, this is the team that won in 2008, but in the 2009-2010 season, this Celtics team actually made the finals, lost in 7 to the Lakers. So it is going to be interesting to see if they can wheel themselves all the way back up there. You have an awful Clippers team with an aging Baron Davis, Chris Kaman, and up-and-coming Eric Gordon. Looks like he just got drafted last year, so he's coming into his sophomore season with the Clippers. You got the Grizzlies. I think this is still kind of a grit and grind Grizzlies team. You got Rudy Gay, Mark Gasol, and Zach Randolph. You know, this is, you know, the beginning of what's supposed to be, you know, a really defensive unit. You got Mike Conley in here. I'm not sure when Tony Allen joined the team, but as you can see, in 2009, he wasn't quite there yet. You got the Atlanta Hawks with a prime ISO Joe Johnson, an up-and-coming Josh Smith, and an Al Horford before everybody started to hate him. You got Jamal Crawford, prime six-man Jamal, and old Mike Bibby, Marvin Williams. It's really a weird Hawks team, but they look like they could really give some playoff contenders some troubles coming down to the championship lines. As we go over to the Miami Heat, 1 year before they get Bosh and LeBron James, you got a prime Dwayne Wade, a very young Michael Beasley when everyone thought he could be the next big thing. That was a thing back in 09. You got Jermaine O'Neal on the squad, an aging Jermaine O'Neal. Of course, Udonis Haslem being on the Heat since like what, 04? He's been on the Heat since 03. He's probably been an 81 overall from 03 until 2022. He'll probably only be an 81 overall. You got Quentin Richardson on the team, Mario Chalmers, really just like the skeleton of that dominating Heat team that we saw from 2010 to what, 2013. So there's that. You have the Charlotte Bobcats at this time. Got Gerald Wallace, Steven Jackson, Raymond Felton. Definitely the best team that they had ever up to this point. Tyson Chandler, they had rebuilt it pretty decently. They may give some championship contending teams some troubles in the playoff. You have the Utah Jazz, who have prime Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, ANDREI Kirilenko, up-and-coming Paul Millsap before he broke out, Wesley Matthews, been a role player forever, Kyle Korver, only a 79 overall at 28, but I just assume he's that three-point role-playing bucket that he always was. I don't know why I didn't know that he was on Utah, but I guess you learned something. I guess Kyle Korver was on the Jazz in 2009. And then you got the Sacramento Kings, got a very young, and he's a rookie, yeah, they just drafted TYREKE Evans, who is supposed to be the guy coming out of that draft, right? So we'll see if he progresses. I think, let me fact check some of my stuff. I think he won Rookie of the Year. He won Rookie of the Year in 2010, so at the end of the season in the real NBA. So we'll see if he's able to follow up and do that. And judging by this roster, he probably should be able to, because it looks like they're only gonna have him. They're just gonna give him the ball every possession. You got the Knicks, who have David Lee entering his prime. Got Al Harrington, a pretty shaky Knicks team. They haven't gotten Melo yet. Melo's still in Denver. Got a few extra players, which shouldn't mean anything. They shouldn't slip through the cracks too much. And then you got the Lakers, who are supposed to win this 2010 NBA championship. They got Kobe, a prime Pau Gasol, obviously Kobe in his prime, Andrew Bynum, up and coming Meta World Peace, Lamar Odom, a few good role players, got Derek Fisher running the point. And yeah, this team is very, very good. Of course, this was literally the year before the era of super teams. So maybe we'll see less super teams created, which I would be all for if we got some loyalty in the NBA during the 2010s. We'll see if that happens here. You got the Orlando Magic, who have Dwight Howard, just drafted him back in 2004. He was only 24 years old at the beginning of the 09 season. That's nuts. It's to see that he dropped off after going to the Rockets. Well, after a couple years with the Rockets. But yeah, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with this Magic team, and we'll see if he ever slows down in this one. They got Vince Carter. How did I not know Vince Carter was on the Magic ever? I should have known that. He must not have been the greatest on the Magic. You got a young JJ Redick role-playing for the team that drafted him still. Been in the year for a triple of years. You got Matt Barnes before these two started their own talk shows. Jason Williams, very old Jason Williams, but he's on the squad. Trying to give it one more go with the Orlando Magic. You got a prime Dirk Nowitzki on the Mavs. This is the year before he was supposed to win that chip in 2011. You got Jason Terry on the squad, Caron Butler, really just that championship team that you saw in 2011. Maybe a few pieces removed, but yeah, they're just, building that chemistry now so they can win it later, and we'll see what happens here. The Nets, they were awful for pretty much the entire 2010s, with the exception of maybe, who was that one guard they had that was good? I think Darren Williams. I know they had ISO Joe for like half a second after his prime, but yeah, these Nets team is in shambles. They're building around their center of the future in BROOK Lopez. And the whole rest of the roster really not notable. I don't even know who this guy is, but apparently they had faith in him back in the day. Moving on to the Denver Nuggets, who have Carmelo Anthony, pretty much prime Melo. I'd take Nuggets Melo over Knicks Melo, I'll say it. You got a aging Chauncey Billups, but he still played out of his mind. Melo's last year with the Nuggets. Both of their contracts are expiring at this point, so we'll see where they go in free agency this offseason. Of course, Melo going to the Knicks in real life, but anything can change here. You got a up-and-coming J.R. Smith before he goes to the Knicks. You got Kenyon Martin here. Yeah, this Nuggets team is definitely a force. We'll see how they perform this season. You have the Indiana Pacers, who are kind of in shambles. Their team is not that great. They got an up-and-coming Roy Hibbert, almost prime Danny Granger, and that's really it. Of course, this is the pre-Paul George era, so we'll see how this team manifests through this series. And looking at the New Orleans Hornets, we got Chris Paul, coming into his 6th year in the league, only 24 years old. I'm really surprised he's only an 84. I'm not sure when Chris Paul broke out, but 84 feels really low, and his potential isn't even that great. That's interesting. So maybe Chris Paul doesn't have, as stellar of a season as he did in our universe here, as there is an ugly ass David West on my screen right now. He's a little bit removed from his prime. You got Peja Stojakovic on the team. This team is just Chris Paul. Moving on to the Pistons, they're a team who are pretty much, cleaning ship, or selling ship, cleaning house. They have a really old Richard Hamilton, really old Ben Wallace, all these players being in their prime, winning a chip in 04, 03, something like that. And they're just getting old, and they're trying to look over to the future. As you see, Rodney Stuckey and Ben Gordon, they plan on being the future for them. Obviously, we know that doesn't happen, and the Pistons are still in rebuild mode even today. But this is definitely the beginning of a long stretch of mediocre Pistons seasons. We'll see if that changes here. He's go over to the Raptors with Chris Bosh, an up and coming. He only has a year left on his deal. We'll see what he decides to do, if he goes to the Heat or resigns. You got aging Hedo Turkoglu, Andre Bargnani's here. DeMar DeRozan just got drafted with the 9th overall pick, so they don't know anything about this man. I am excited to see how his career plays out. He's gonna be his rookie year. See if he can compete with Tyreke Evans for that rookie of the year spot. Marco Bellinelli, before he went to the Spurs, is on this team. Amir Johnson. The Raptors don't even draft bad historically. They just can't keep their rookies. They just leave them because no one wants to play in Canada. My Houston Rockets, who are definitely going to be brutalized in this simulation, because this is right before they had all the potential in the world. They hadn't gotten Dwight Howard yet, they hadn't gotten James Harden yet, and there's nothing saying that they're going to get them in this simulation. So they're definitely in shambles, rebuilding after the T-Mac and Yao Ming era just ended. Yao Ming's actually still here, but the era's ending. He got forced out because of injuries, so I expect him to be maybe not out of the league soon, but definitely only be a role player, as they have a very young Kyle Lowry we could see them build around, who's only been in the league for a little bit now. It's going to be interesting to see what this Rockets team does, but I'm going to predict they're going to be pretty garbage for most of the 2010s. We got the San Antonio Spurs, who have an aging Tim Duncan, an aging Manu. They got a Tony who's coming into his prime, Richard Jefferson coming into his prime. They're a good team. They have a mixture of solid prime players. They got some aging veterans, and they got this young player. They got Jordan Hill and Dejon. I don't know who this guy is actually, but he shows some promise in this 2K world. See if he can progress into anything. A prime Matt Bonner. And of course, the Spurs are supposed to win in 2012 and 2014, so we'll see if Tim Duncan will be able to produce then. Of course, they don't have Kawhi Leonard in this one. Kawhi Leonard hasn't been drafted yet. The Phoenix Suns have a very old Steve Nash, a prime Amari Stoudemire, Jason Richardson, Channing Frye, Grant Hill, Leandro Barbosa. This is a competing Suns team who, if they don't win it this year, probably have no chance in winning it for a long time unless they build around this young Robin Lopez or Goran Dragic, as you see here. This Suns team will be interesting. I think this is their last year in real contention before all these players start regressing. So we'll see if they're able to do anything with Chameleon Nash here. Moving on to the Oklahoma City Thunder, who could very well dominate this series with a 22-year-old Kevin Durant, 21-year-old Russell Westbrook, and a 21-year-old James Harden. We'll see what they progress into. They are nowhere near their prime. James Harden was a rookie, was the 3rd pick in last year's draft. Russell Westbrook is going into his sophomore season. Kevin Durant going into his junior season. They have so much potential, this Thunder team. Not even to mention Jeff Green, Serge Ibaka, Nick Collison, Cephalosha, some guys that could really help them win. I assume this Thunder team is going to be dominant unless they decide to make the dumb moves that they made in our universe. Moving on to the Minnesota Timberwolves. They got Al Jefferson, a up-and-coming Kevin Love, who was supposed to be, and he was, a demon with the Timberwolves. So we'll see if he progresses into something with his 6-year Timberwolf contract that he has now. The Portland Trailblazers, when they had hope, Brandon Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, Andre Miller, Nicholas Batum, and Marcus Camby, really just one piece away from being a top contending team. Brandon Roy, his career cut short because of injury, and then you have, you know, really just regression of him shortly after this. So we'll see if he's able to sustain his career. You got the Golden State Warriors with a rookie, Stephen Curry, who is definitely going to make the video interesting, see if he can progress, make that Warriors dynasty that we all know he can do. Got Monte Ellis, got Corey Maggette. Yeah, this team is not good, but they are going to have good picks, and if they can capitalize on those picks, you know, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, then maybe they'll be able to progress into what we saw through the 2010s. Got the Washington Wizards. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Andre Blatch, whatever. Looks like he went undrafted. I assume he either became a meh role player or, you know, was just pushed out of the league pretty fast, because I really don't know who he is. I know Mike Miller, Nick Young, got JaVale McGee and Sean Livingston whenever he was supposed to be a freaking athlete. I don't know if this is pre or post Sean Livingston injuries, but it will be exciting to see if his career turns out a little bit different without the injuries. And yeah, this is the 2009 roster we're working with. It's a really well-made roster, so I'm excited to use it. I'm excited to see how the drafts go, see where, you know, different players get taken, see whose legacies can be fulfilled, whose cannot, see where LeBron goes. You got Kobe in here, Dirk, Dwayne Wade, KD, just all at the top. You know, a young Dwight Howard that maybe never regresses. You know, see if Melo wins a ring. Steve Nash still has something left in the tank, and this is just going to be a really exciting series. So let's get into the first season, and I'll see you guys at the All-Star break. And here we are with a look at the 2010 NBA awards. LeBron James won MVP just as he did in real life. That one's holding true. Tyreke Evans, Rookie of the Year, just as he did in real life. That one holding true. Paul Millsap, 6th Man of the Year instead of Jamal Crawford. Snagged that one from him. I could bet Jamal Crawford may not even have been a 6th man this year. Maybe they realize his potential here and start him. Andrei Kirilenko, Defensive Player of the Year. That's really surprising, actually. Got 1.6 steals and 1.4 blocks. Dwight Howard won it here. This is back when Dwight was dominating the Defensive Player of the Year races every year. And we have Brook Lopez winning Most Improved Player. In real life, Most Improved was Aaron Brooks from Houston. But really, MIP for this first year we do is going to be a little bit skewed, just because, you know, the past years aren't super accurate. So some of these players, you know, like for example, if I take Brook Lopez, he's MIP because it took his Milwaukee years in real life, and he's now the centerpiece of this Nets team, and that's why he averaged so much more. So MIP of the first year is gonna be messed up, but every year after that it should be pretty good and ready to roll. Moving on to the All-NBA first team. You see Dwayne Wade, Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, KD, and Dwight Howard, 2 OKC teammates making the All-NBA first team. In real life, Russell Westbrook didn't even make an All-NBA team. So seeing him all the way up here on the All-NBA first team is definitely surprising. The real All-NBA first team in real life was Kobe, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Dwight Howard, and KD. So we do have just this one change, Russell Westbrook taking over Kobe's spot, as we see Kobe, of course, here in the All-NBA second team. Derrick Rose and Josh Smith making an appearance. Tyreke Evans making the All-NBA third team as a rookie. He did pull his calf muscles towards the end of the year, as you see here. And yeah, that's pretty nice at rookie making an All-NBA team. So Tyreke Evans might have a crazy career, as you see Dirk, Pau Gasol, and Chris Bosh finishing off the All-NBA teams. And the All-Defensive, you see the names you'd expect the most: Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Andrei Kirilenko. LeBron is actually a little surprising for the All-Defensive first team. Of course, you see Dwight Howard here, who won the Defensive Player of the Year in real life. And I just checked, and LeBron actually made the All-Defensive first team here in real life anyways. So maybe I'm just mistaking LeBron for not being the absolute defensive demon that he is and was. Moving on to the All-Defensive second team. Got Chris Paul, Drew Holiday, Sean Marion, Josh Smith, and Andrew Bogut. Nothing surprising there. Rookies may be a little unrealistic because of past year experience, but honestly, everything looks good right here. TYREKE, Steph Curry, Brandon Jennings, James Harden, and Marcus Thornton. These are all guards in the rookie first team. Second team holds Drew Holiday and DeMar DeRozan. Pretty interesting stuff. We'll go on over to the stats for the year, see our league leaders. And we see here Dwayne Wade led the league in points per game, dropped a fair amount of assists and rebounds too. Really had a monster year for the Heat. Of course, your MVP LeBron James also having a stellar year. Less assists, less points, and just barely more steals for LeBron James, who won the Most Valuable Player award. Worse in efficiency. And yeah, I don't know. That was a toss-up. Maybe Dwayne Wade got snubbed for MVP. You see KD, D Rose, Carmelo, Nowitzki, Bosh. No surprising names here. Besides Tyreke Evans, that boy's going off. Tyreke's the next dude. Danny Granger up here, Brandon Roy. We'll go ahead and look at maybe the assist leaders. We should see Nash and Paul up here. Of course, Rondo, Westbrook making an early appearance. Chris Paul here, Andre Miller, Dwayne Wade, number 7 in the league in assists, passing up Jason Kidd. That's pretty surprising. Your rebound leaders, of course, you got Superman, Brook Lopez, Andrew Bogut, Caleb. Nothing too surprising here out of all of these names. And steal leaders, Rondo, huge favorite in steal leaders, half a steal ahead. Dwight Howard, a monster on the blocks too. Maybe he got snubbed for MIP, man. He averaged 3 blocks a game. That's nuts. Man, definitely deserves something. We have a Tyrus Thomas, who I don't know who this guy is or if he actually exists. But these are your field goal percentage leaders. I want to see if there's any 60, 40, 90 clubs, and it looks like there is not even close. You got Ray Allen and Kobe leading the league in 3-point percentage. Nice, okay. Your free throw guys, of course, you got JJ and Brandon Jennings up here. Brandon Jennings may be a little surprising, being a league leader in free throw percentage. I just know him as the guy that misses layups to win the game, so what do I know anyways? But yeah, those are your league leaders in stats. And here are the 2010 NBA playoffs. And crazy enough, out of the 16 teams that made the playoffs, 14 of them stood true. The only 2 teams that made the playoffs in real life and did not in the simulation were the Denver Nuggets and the San Antonio Spurs, who held the 4th and the 7th seed in the West. And instead, we see the Clippers, who are somehow the 3rd seed, and the Jazz, and the Houston Rockets, who fit in there at the 8th seed. I did forget to check. We can go check it now. I didn't see if there was any trades made to, mix up some of these rosters during the season. So we're gonna go ahead and look at that. Here we are on the transaction report. You see Matt Bonner got traded to the Pacers. One of the extra players moving around, Richard Hamilton, an old Richard Hamilton, gets moved to the Bucks as you see they try to rebuild. Jason Williams gets traded to the Nuggets. Move out pretty much just for a 2nd round pick and a player that will never become anything. Darko Milicic went to the Wizards in a trade. Reggie Evans going to the Pistons. As you see, they are trying to get younger. Marcus Camby gets traded to the Celtics. Somehow the Blazers are still good enough to make the playoffs. No crazy trades. Richard Hamilton's pretty cool and Jason Williams is pretty cool. But the only one that really looked like it had a playoff impact is maybe the Nuggets getting rid of Jason Williams and then not making the playoffs. That's pretty notable. And you see the Magic squeezing here with an 8th seed with Jason Williams. So we're going to go ahead and see how the 2009 NBA playoffs goes. I'm gonna go quickly through the first, maybe the 2nd round, and we'll start locking in on those conference matchups. You see the Orlando Magic are gone 1st round with Dwight Howard. They made it all the way to the conference finals in real life. So interesting to see here that they lost 1st round to Cleveland. You have the Phoenix Suns also eliminated. They made the conference finals in real life. You got the Rockets, of course, gone. They're not even supposed to be here. You have the Milwaukee Bucks getting eliminated right on schedule. You got the Chicago Bulls eliminated on schedule. The Bobcats eliminated on schedule. The Jazz are gone out of here. They actually made it to the next round but got swept by the Lakers in real life. So here are the standings. And really, there's not any storylines transpiring in the conference semifinals here, but there is potential for some big storylines in the conference finals. You could see LeBron against D Wade. He's also holding Shaquille O'Neal, who would go against his former team. You have the Boston Celtics, who are supposed to make it to the finals this year, potentially with the rematch against this Lakers squad, who are reigning NBA champions in this. They did win it back in 2009. And of course, it's always really interesting to see OKC up here as the #1 seed whenever they were the 8th seed in real life, and didn't make it out of the first round, facing the Lakers. Then we got, here, I don't know how I didn't see this, 2 LA teams. So we're gonna see a series take place in what was then the Staples Center. So that's gonna be interesting. Even though the Clippers team is pretty bad, we do have a little Staples Center game going on here. We'll go ahead and simulate through this round and see who makes it out. You got the Miami Heat eliminated. Dwayne Wade is going home. They don't have a super team this time around, and the Celtics do defeat them just like they did in real life. The Heat are going home because of the Big Three in Boston. You have the Atlanta Hawks eliminated right on time. They were eliminated in the second round in real life, but it was to the Magic in real life. You see the Los Angeles Lakers, the team who was supposed to win the NBA Finals in 2010, is eliminated in the second round to really a garbage LA Clippers team, if I remember correctly. We'll check rosters here in a second. History already being rewritten in this series. You got the Mavericks eliminated by the Thunder, and the Thunder have a wide open Western Conference to try and make the NBA Finals. This is absolutely crazy. I'll go ahead and look at this Thunder team compared to the Clippers, and yeah, just like I suspected, the Clippers are not good. They got an old Baron Davis, an up-and-coming Eric Gordon, and up-and-coming Blake Griffin, but that's really it. The Thunder have Westbrook, KD, they have James Harden coming off the bench. They have some great role players. The Thunder are stacked. The Clippers shouldn't even be in the playoffs, let alone making it to the conference finals, beating out Kobe, of course. That's just nuts. But it looks like here, Kobe played. He played the whole series, and they still found a way to lose it. So that's really interesting. And then somehow, obviously the Heat did lose in real life anyways, but I really thought they were going to beat Boston. In this simulation, their team just looked like it matched up really well, and that did not happen. As you see here, Boston progressed to play LeBron James and the Celtics, and the Cavs are decent. The Cavs are decent enough to where LeBron might say, hey, I have a real chance here. I'm going to stay and try to win it. Let's go ahead and simulate some of these games game by game. As you see, the Cavs and the Thunder take the first game and the second game. The Cavs take the third game, but the Clippers actually steal one from the Thunder, surprisingly enough. And the Boston Celtics, who are also supposed to make the NBA Finals, are eliminated. And LeBron James is going to his second NBA Finals. Maybe he won't get swept this time, as we see the Clippers tie it up against the OKC Thunder. The Clippers are a Cinderella story here. Thunder take game 6, and in Thunder took game 5, and in game 6, the Clippers tie it up and make it a series. They're going to 7 games, just like they did against the Lakers. And if the Clippers come out on top, I don't even know what I'm going to think. I mean, neither one of these teams made it even close to this far in real life. Thunder being first round exits, and the Clippers not even making the playoffs. So let's see what happens here. Game 7, game sim. It's a tightly contested game in the first half. OKC has about a 10-point lead, and it looks like they're running away with this one. OKC up 15, 4 minutes left, and they take the dub. In the conference finals, your 2010 2K NBA Finals is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Thunder making it a year early, and the Cavs, who are holding what is supposed to be LeBron James and his last year with Cleveland, he makes the finals and might alter his decision. So let's see what happens here, see if legacy is rewritten. Simulating game 1, and the Thunder take game 1. The KD-led Thunder. LeBron James answers back and takes game 2. Thunder fight Game 3 and Game 4, and entering Game 5, the Cleveland Cavaliers are down 3-1, and let's see if LeBron can pull the comeback earlier than expected. He's up at halftime, and towards the end of the fourth, it's a tight game, but it looks like the Cavs are gonna take it. Cavs make the series 3-2 going into Game 6, see if they can tie up the series. It's a tightly contested game in the middle of the second. Yeah, this one is a battle. Back and forth, back and forth. I'm gonna go ahead and go to the fourth and see if this is a game worth watching, but the Thunder take it away in the second half. Yeah, that was brutal, and it looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder are rewriting history, and they are your 2010 NBA champions, led by Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. The Thunder already making an impact on history. Of course, their biggest criticism being that they didn't keep the band together to win a chip, and they win it first year in this simulation. And yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, this is gonna be a series. I'll probably do a year, maybe two, depending on how long they take each video. In the next video, we're gonna see the 2010 NBA draft class with some notable names like John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, and Paul George being in that one. Gordon Hayward as well, seeing where they go. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for the view. Peace.